Tell me, Krista, when you can see the screen.
All right, your screen is up and running.
All right. Well, thank you for the opportunity to talk to everybody today. We're going to talk about solutions for preventing pellet loss. So these are best management practice, and everybody wants to achieve sustainable plastic management. And if they're getting away and downstream, that doesn't help anybody. So we're going to talk about the LittaTrap. And my slide here is not progressing. Hold on here. There. The LittaTrap, because LittaTrap has been a device that has been part of Operation Clean Sweep for some time. It's been used by many, many different operators because it is really a good way to achieve the zero pellet loss goal. Now, pellets, nurdles, whatever you want to call them, they're really a modern petrochemical marvel. Made of different chemicals by different manufacturers. These pellets have become an indispensable part of our society. So many products that we buy and use and depend on daily for good health and everything are dependent on the distribution and use of these pellets. The sheet products, the all of the products that are injection molded. Like I mean, the list is endless, and it really is a marvel. And we really depend on these. They're an essential part of society today. However, there is a dark side to these pellets, and the dark side is that they get away and they get into stormwater and they end up in the wrong place. And there are those who will tell you that this is the worst toxic waste that most people have never heard of. So just about any beach in the world, you're able to find pellets, nurdles. There's beach cleanups and pellet hunts all over the world. They do them in Toronto regularly on the beaches in the east side of Toronto, and there's a lot of pellets there. So this is what we want to prevent, and we're going to show you how we can go a long way to preventing that by using the LittaTrap. Now, the pellet industry is huge. It's like the fifth or sixth largest industry in North America. And these pellets are shipped from the manufacturing sites in train convoys like this. Every hopper car holds about 3 billion nurdles. I have that factual information from one of the major producers. So there's a lot of these pellets that are rolling around the country, sitting in rail yards, and it's un you can't imagine that you're going to ship that much product and not spill some along the way. And that's exactly what happens. So we have these rail cars in distribution centers where the trucks come in and pump them into the trucks, as we see being done here. And unfortunately, there is spillage that happens in these circumstances. And it's not uncommon. The operators will tell you about that if you get them in an honest moment. And this is what happens. It's a human endeavor. So there are mistakes made. There's equipment failures, and this is what we're dealing with. And this becomes a serious environmental problem if it is not addressed in a practical way. As Donald Trump said last week, things happen. So this is what we don't want to happen. So those trucks fill up at the hopper cars and they take them out to the plastic manufacturers. And they all have inventories in silos, as we see here. We see them all over our cities. And what could possibly go wrong now? Well, they have to pump them up into the silos. Hoses sometimes uncouple and spill pellets on the ground. You get broken connectors and even burst hoses. So this picture I took about 2 years ago, and I've seen many examples of this in my travels to different manufacturers, but I just chose to put this picture on 3 times for emphasis because it's not uncommon. And if you've traveled to as many sites as I have, you'll know this is something that happens on a daily basis. So here are the pellets on the ground. What's the problem? Well, we also have pellets spilling off the dock in some cases. And we also have product that's stored outside in some cases, not so much in Canada, but it does happen in bags and different containers. And the forklift spears one, rocks the corner out, and pellets get spilled in the yard. This is very common to see this kind of thing in the yard of a plastic manufacturer. So here's the problem with this. If they just stayed there on the ground, it would be fine, but they don't. The pellets migrate. They are windblown. They get carried with the stormwater to the catch basin. And every yard has a catch basin like this of some kind or multiples. And you can see the pellets here are moving towards the catch basins. So what we're here to tell you is that these catch basins are your last line of defense if you want to achieve zero pellet loss into the environment. Because from the catch basin, of course, the water is just conveyed to streams, rivers, lakes, and oceans, and the pellets are just carried along. They're just part of the carry. And you don't see them in the water because pellets are, after all, plastic, and plastic is neutrally buoyant. So it all just sits in the water column and it's there for a very, very long time. And the fish ingest them. And of course, this is bad for wildlife. It's also bad for humans because it affects human health because it gets into the human food chain. So the evidence that we've presented to you so far has all been empirical. It's just been from what I've seen and others have seen in wandering around different yards and distribution centers. And the problem is real. But to show you that it really has been studied scientifically as well, we're going to share just a little information from the University of Toronto study, which they called Operation Sweep the Creek. And it was a multi-year initiative that they did to try and address the problem of plastic pellet loss from industry in the GTA. So first of all, they did a background load check to see what the Great Lakes were really producing, and they have identified the hotspots. You can see Toronto or the GTA is a big hotspot in this exercise. And what they did is they determined that there was interest from the government. So they had the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, the CIAC, and of course, EnviroPod also participated. So they divided the study into three phases. First of all, they did some testing on Etobicoke Creek to see if there really were pellets in there. And of course, they found lots. In dry and wet weather events, they were able to show that there was a good level of pellets to be found in the creek. So phase two, they found one of the producers upstream from this Etobicoke Creek, and they convinced them to install 5 LittaTraps in their catch basins. And then they sampled them over a period of months, as you can see here, and they caught a lot of pellets. So they proved that this was a reasonable way to capture the pellets and prevent them from getting in stormwater. And then in phase three, they expanded it to 5 companies. There were 5 companies that participated. One was a producer of plastic pellets, and 4 were manufacturing plastic products and from pellets. And they were all upstream of the Humber River, which flows into Lake Ontario, as we know. And this is the results of their test. After they installed these catch basins with the LittaTraps, they first pumped them all out, made sure that they had a clean start so that the sampling would be objective. And then they emptied them every 2 months. And they monitored this for a full year. I actually went by on one occasion when they were doing the emptying and was able to observe how it was done. It was done very carefully, and this was an excellent study. So after they would empty the traps, this is what they were emptying out when they would empty them after a period of 2 months. And the material was taken to the lab where they could do proper weighing and subsampling and actually calculate the number of microplastics, the number of pellets that were found in the samples. So you can see the way it was done here by the sections that are cut away. And the results at the end of the study were quite staggering. You can see that with just 5 sites, they captured millions and millions of pellets and prevented them from getting into the Etobicoke Creek and the Humber River and Lake Ontario. So it was a very successful study in identifying a good solution and a best managed practice for stopping this kind of pollution. So this feeds right into what the objectives of Operation Clean Sweep are, to keep plastic materials out of the marine environment. They want to help every plastic resin handling operation work towards zero pellet loss, which protects the environment and saves valuable resources at the same time. So this is something that we're quite happy that we can participate and make a valuable contribution with the LittaTrap. So what is the LittaTrap? If it's going to achieve zero pellet loss, what special powers does it have? Let's examine. It's designed to be retrofit in a catch basin. As you can see being done here, there's 2 bolt holes that have to be drilled to mount the bracket. There's a filter box and the seals. And the seals are like the secret sauce that makes sure everything that comes into that catch basin goes through that basket. So it hides underneath the grate. It works quietly and efficiently in preventing pellet loss. Now, we've been around for a long time. In Canada, we have installations that are 9 years old or more. These ones up in Richmond Hill have been there 9 years. We inspected them in the spring. The devices are working fine. These particular ones were there specifically to capture leaf matter and keep it out of a pond. But the same principle applies. The installation and the way it's maintained is exactly the same. So we give our product an 8-year warranty. We're expecting 30 to 35 years of performance minimum. We mass produce the LittaTrap. It's shipped in a flat pack from a warehouse in Mississauga. And we've been testing, validating the performance, and doing continuous improvement on the product for 30 years. So we know the product is viable and it's going to work well in the catch basin capturing pellets. It has a modular design. So we have 3 different sizes of baskets. We have different seal sets that match up to different applications, half moon ones for the round manhole style, and different brackets. So we can adapt this to all kinds of different catch basins. And that has to be the case because for every municipality, province, or state, there's as many different configurations of catch basins and styles of these inlet drains. So we have to have a modular design to be able to fit them all. And we are able to fit about 99% of the catch basins that we've encountered. Round ones, rectangular ones, square ones. And the thing to remember as well is this is a product that is built for all seasons. It will work even in the wintertime. As long as water is running, it's not going to contribute to ponding or flooding in your catch basin. It works in there very inconspicuously. So how it works is it ensures that all the water and the waste that comes through the catch basin, it goes through the filter and only the water is coming out on the other side. Now we have a basket that's got a batten on the bottom, so it's not going to distort. You'll always be able to pull it in and out with those red straps. The support bracket made of reinforced nylon and a support bracket in the back that bolts to the wall with stainless steel bolts is designed to go the distance as well. Gross pollutant basket has 5 millimeter openings in it, but what we do is we add filters to it. And this is really good for the plastics industry because we have 2 specific filters designed for use in the plastic industry. The pellet liner, or the plastic nurdle liner, we call it, is 1,000 microns, and it will capture all of those nurdles. And the microplastics liner, 200 microns, is designed to capture plastic flake, which is also a big problem in some industrial applications. So between the 2 nurdles, we have the plastics industry covered, and we can help them prevent this loss from going downstream. Now, as part of the design of the LittaTrap, you'll see it has an overflow bypass slot. It's about 2 inches all the way around. Now, if the basket becomes full, as you see in the bottom right picture, then the LittaTrap goes into what we call bypass mode, and everything just goes through. In the plastics industry, where you want to prevent that loss from happening, it is more essential to get 100% capture. And so what you do is you take the basket apart with the straps at the top, and there's 4 little pins that are removed, and now you can tighten it up, and it does not have a bypass. So now you're able to achieve 100% pellet capture. And a lot of plants and industrial applicators like that because it allows them to capture every pellet. The only caveat is that now you have to monitor the thing. If you have rainfall events, you want to check and make sure that it's being emptied properly and in time in advance of these so that you're not seeing the thing causing flooding or ponding on your property. But you can achieve 100% capture by removing those little pins and then defeating the bypass, so to speak. Now, there's a lot of industrial applications where they're not standard catch basins by any means, and our LittaTrap seals and brackets weren't enough to do the job. So we've adapted custom fabricated flanges, and we've made many, many of these for different people. They work very well, as you can see. We still use the LittaTrap basket because it is designed to work with the liners, and that's where you're going to capture the pellets, but the flange is just a medium for holding the basket in place. We encounter all kinds of homemade, we'll call them, screens and interventions for capturing pellets. Lots of operators think they can make their own, and they've tried all kinds of different things, but by and large, they don't work very good. In fact, one major operator was a producer of pellets, and they installed some LittaTraps. They said the LittaTraps work better and more efficiently than anything that their engineers had ever done in the past. So that was a confidence builder for us. We know that the device is effective and works well. Now, this is why, because we do a lot of R&D and testing. We have our own wet lab, as you can see here. And so we're looking for continuous improvement. We make sure that the filters and the installation recommendations for our product are effective and they work well. So how do we maintain and how do we install a LittaTrap? Well, this is how we do the installation. It's rather simple. This one being done in Australia shows the drilling of 2 holes for the anchor bolts to hold the bracket against the side wall of your catch basin. It's all done from the surface. There's no confined space. And then the filter box and the seals are screwed in with self-tapping screws. The seals just have to be cut to length, and they're screwed in place, as you see being done here. And the seals have to scoop up the sidewall so that everything comes through the basket. And this one is being installed with the 200 micron liner. And when done, close the grate, and now you can capture pellets. That's about a 15 or 20-minute operation to install a LittaTrap in a standard type catch basin. Now, if you're going to maintain the device, there's 2 ways you can do it. First of all, we're going to show you hand maintenance. And hand maintenance is simple. You lift the grate, you grab the basket by those red handles, and dump it out into a dumpster and put it back. And then close the grate. And this is done quite often. However, in industry, a lot of folks use a Vactor truck. And in this way, they're able to Vactor not only the pellets out of the basket, but they can clean up anything around on the seals or on the lips and prevent any additional pellets from going downstream. It's also a great opportunity to pump out the sump if that's required at the same time. So this is done with Vactor trucks, and also lots of folks are using backpack-mounted vacuum-type systems. So there's a lot of ways to do this, and it's a good, effective way to capture the pellets from the baskets. So where have we used LittaTraps? Well, Operation Clean Sweep is an international exercise and has participants all over the world. So we have a lot of installations in New Zealand, in Australia, in Asia, as well in Canada, in just about every province now. And all over the United States, we have people who are using LittaTraps in industrial applications to stop the pellets from going downstream. We have hundreds of installations like this. In Texas, which is really ground zero for pellet manufacturing, we have been installing there since about 2021. A lot of the primary manufacturers are using LittaTraps at their sites. And in Ontario, we have bulk distribution companies that have been using LittaTraps in their yards for many years with great effect. A lot of industrial plastic manufacturers all over the States, as we saw from the map, are using LittaTraps in a lot of different configurations. Seems everybody has some kind of a different catch basin system, but the end result is the same. They're able to capture the nurdles and prevent them from going downstream.
Plastics, as a plastics processing company that brings in a raw material, and it sort of looks like rice. We predominantly make small components. Most of them fit into the palm of your hand, and from time to time, the product does end up small amounts out in the car park. We embraced the LittaTrap and quickly installed one, and we've been amazed with the results. Over the last year, we have caught many kilograms of plastic that would have ended up in the waterways. Yeah, it's very, very easy to maintain the LittaTrap. It really only takes a couple of minutes. Medical plastics feel we're doing the right thing by having a LittaTrap on our premises. We're trying to do the right thing for future generations. And I would actively encourage to just install one of these things. They're fantastic. Once it's in, it's just easy. It's a pretty good sort of feeling that we've taken that amount of pellets out of the ecosystem.
So a little bit of first-person experience there. We recently installed 35 flanges like this at one of the large bulk pellet handlers operations in Montreal. And you can see what they look like. They sit under the grate quite nicely, very effective at capturing the pellets. They also have LittaTraps at their operations in Hamilton and Toronto as well. This is a manufacturer in Alberta that's had LittaTraps by their loading dock for several years now, and they're capturing pellets on a continuous basis because it's just part of the industry. They tend to get spilled. Again, down in LaPorte, Texas, the petrochemical industry is quite fond of the LittaTrap, and we see a lot of installations happening there. In Wisconsin, here's another plastic manufacturer that installed LittaTraps and is installing them, I guess, in the one on the left. And you can see they're capturing a lot of pellets down in those catch basins. So for those of you who wonder, well, who is EnviroPod and who is LittaTrap anyways? Well, it's a company that's really a global leader in catch basin insert technology and in stormwater and green stormwater infrastructure solutions. We have distribution partners in Australia, Canada, the United States, Asia, and the Middle East. And we sell the LittaTrap just about everywhere. There's about 70,000 of them that have been installed to date, with many more on order. So it's become a very popular item. Now, the whole idea started about 30 years ago. It says 28 on the slide, but it's really 30 now. Greg and Mike were out doing diving, and they saw all kinds of plastic trash in the stormwater. Realizing this came from urban areas, they saw that the catch basin filter was the last line of defense that they could stop it. So they started making prototypes, and you can see the prototypes that they're working on there in the pictures that were taken 30 years ago. And now we've been doing R&D for 30 years on this to achieve what we call the LittaTrap today. So that's why we're able to give it an 8-year warranty and tell people that it's going to last 25, 30 or more years in use, and it will work well. Now, most of our customers for the LittaTrap are municipalities, such as Barrie, as you see here, who installed 120 LittaTraps in the downtown core of their city to capture litter and trash that was going into Lake Simcoe. And this has been a very successful program. They're adding another 100 LittaTraps to their program next year. In the city of St. John's, Fisheries and Oceans installed 38 LittaTraps in the downtown core to prevent litter from getting into the harbor in St. John's. And it has worked very effectively, and they're quite pleased with the results. We work closely with a lot of learning institutions like the University of Western Ontario, who did a big study on the Thames River, showing that the LittaTrap was an effective way to reduce plastic pollution in the river and give Lake St. Clair and Lake Erie a better source of water. So this has been something that's very effective. We've partnered with institutions like the University of Western Ontario all over the place in many different countries, and lots of academics are very familiar with our product. The University of Toronto Trash Team, big fans of the LittaTrap. They have 10 of them down at Queen's Quay, and every year they capture about 600 kilograms, 630 was the count from last year, of plastic. So that's a lot of plastic just from 10 LittaTraps and a few booms out in the water. So there's a big load of plastic that the city is generating. And unfortunately, some of it is coming from the plastic manufacturing community with that raw product, those plastic pellets. So the LittaTrap then becomes really your last line of defense in preventing pellet loss into stormwater. And that's why we want to call it a best management practice for a plastic manufacturer or distributor to use the LittaTrap in their catch basins. The LittaTrap with the 1000 micron liner will capture all the pellets. It can capture 100%, so that any plastic spills that you might have in the yard can be prevented from leaving your site and entering the waterways. So it's a very effective, simple, easy to maintain solution for plastic manufacturers to comply with Operation Clean Sweep guidelines. And if you're already doing those audits, we can help you improve them. So it's something that has been used by hundreds of different manufacturers all over North America, and we can help you too. So the LittaTrap is really results driven, and we've been working with industry to make this happen. We'd love to work with you, given an opportunity. We'd be able to provide you with the information we need. We need measurements and photos to be able to provide you with a quotation, but we can show you how they need to be installed and what you need to do to upgrade your site and prevent this kind of loss from going downstream. So we'd like to thank you for attending the presentation today. And I understand that we're going to have an opportunity for some questions if there are any. So I will turn the screen back to Krista.
Excellent. Thank you, Barry. So thank you everybody for participating. I'm sure you've got some questions for Barry. If you do, please take yourself off mute. Use the hand raise action at the bottom of the screen. You know, as we look at Operation Clean Sweep, as Barry indicated, it really is an opportunity, and the LittaTrap is your last line of defense. We all have practices in place to try to prevent spills, but incidences do happen, and you know, they say don't cry over spilled milk. Well, this is the opportunity to actually allow you to make sure that any spill does not leave your site. This is extremely important for our industry as we look at the challenges that we're facing, the commentary around microplastics in the environment, and you know, the goal of Operation Clean Sweep is to keep all plastics out of the environment. And it is in our best operating interest and business interest to make sure that pre-production pellets remain in the system and not in the environment. So with that, I'll pause and see if anybody has any questions. Seeing that we don't have any, I will take that as Barry's presentation was very thorough, in the opportunity that's presented through EnviroPod and the value of Operation Clean Sweep. We will send around an email following this webinar. I will include the link to the video. If you want to share it, please do. And if you have any questions regarding EnviroPod and LittaTrap, we'll include Barry's contact information for you there. With that, I'll say again, thank you. Barry, did you have any last closing remarks?
No, just thank you for the opportunity to present today and generate a little bit more awareness for something that's so easy to do and makes such a big difference to the environment.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, everyone. With that, I will give you some time back in your day. Thank you, and we look forward to hearing from you and your own Operation Clean Sweep journey. Take care.
Thank you, Krista.